Hey there, Wandering Watchers. Welcome to this unboxing and flip through of Ghost Tarot, created by Davide Corsi. This deck is put out by Lo Scarabeo and distributed by Llewellyn. I purchased this deck directly from the Llewellyn website, and the reason why I got this was because I was looking for a deck to do love readings with. And believe it or not, this Ghost Tarot deck showed up on multiple lists for being great to do love tarot readings. And I'm also a fan of Halloween, so I figured it applies to both love and all things spooky. So I took off the plastic wrap that came around this tuck box and the plastic wrap that came around the cards inside the box to avoid the hassle. So it's just a simple tuck box, and here you can see the front of the box, the side, the back, the other side, bottom, nothing fancy. So here, put this here, and this card here is just like insert, but it shows you the design of the back of the cards. So you can do reversals, right sides up. You wouldn't even know the difference. So I will have to say that, Llewellyn is known for having some kind of flimsy cards. This is a very, like thin, flimsy, kind of like glossy type of card. And I expected that. I knew that was the case, and it was a risk I was willing to take. The design on the back, not too thrilled with, but it more looks like it would go for, with a deck that was more, Egyptian based, more having to do with like a specific like culture, non-modern culture type of thing. And based on what I can see so far, what I've seen so far, it seems like this is more like Victorian type of time frame. So let's see what we have here. Here we have the Fool. Actually, I'm going to take a look at the guidebook. The Ghost Tarot guidebook comes in 5 different languages. I think English, French, Spanish. What other languages are there? Just kidding. I don't know what these ones come in particularly, but there are like little flags here on the bottom, say which countries. Maybe German and Italian. So here, because of the different languages of this little tiny guidebook, the content of the entire deck is limited to approximately 16 pages of very tiny print. There's some quotes to the beginning. Here's a spread, it looks like, and it seems that the spread, how to do the spread, is on page 16, where the descriptions end. So because there's really not a lot of text for these different cards, I might as well just go ahead and read them for each of the cards. The Fool, the smile of the traveler. Life is a never-ending journey. The sun rays dispel the shadows and allow us to stop for a short while, but when darkness falls, the journey must continue. A soul that knows how to smile will never be alone on this journey. So you can see here the Fool, this dog, the Magician, the Alchemist's Will. Everything is formed by the alchemy of 4 different elements mixed together: the water of emotions, the fire of energy, the earth of stability, and the air of the intellect. Nothing is created and nothing is destroyed, but everything is transformed according to the alchemist's will. The High Priestess, the Temple of the Spirit. The soul of a person is in a sacred and precious place. It must be protected and nurtured, above all within ourselves, and never forgotten. The soul contains the best parts of ourselves. These will remain even when everything else that seems important today has disappeared. It's a nice concept of the High Priestess. It just seems to be that the High Priestess is, in of itself, the soul, and not particularly limited to wisdom or inner knowledge or intuition even. Here we have the Empress, regal benevolence. Grace and humility temper the power at the service of good and prevent authority from serving only itself and its own instincts. True power is a responsibility managed by love. So here the imagery that is typically with the Empress, the concepts of love and nature and creativity are really, they aren't really projected from this image. However, it seems that this concept of the Empress really is only, that concept of grace and humility is really only observed in respect to the Emperor. Because otherwise you're just looking at someone wearing a big foofy dress and a hat under a big window, sitting in a big chair. So here we have the Emperor, the government of experience. Haste is the enemy of wisdom, indecision is the enemy of success, and anger is the enemy of justice. Authority is not born of the law, but of the capacity to manage and use it. I like that. That is a good description, and I like how the way that this Emperor is sitting. It's one leg crossed over the other, but the outline of the one leg could be like two really thin skeleton leg bones. The Emperor, oh wait, no, we're on the Hierophant now. The sustenance of faith. Faith does not deny doubt, it transcends it. It expresses trust in what cannot be understood and what does not depend on us. For this reason, faith gives rise to light even in the darkest places. It's a very simple concept of Hierophant being faith. But it's a good concept. I like that concept. The Lovers, an embrace that unites. Every decision may unite or divide. Every road may take you near or far. When you walk together, there must be sentiment to not get lost when faced with forks in the road. Not all sentiments are eternal, but some can be. That's a nice concept of you can walk a similar path, and when you hit a fork in the road, that gives another opportunity or chance to determine whether you'll be united or divided. The Chariot, the unstoppable impetus. Success is born of determination and audacity, but interior urges that leads you ahead and further ahead is difficult to stop. And the race, like success or triumph, can become an end unto itself. So the chase of victory, it seems, just to chase that title. Strength. The spirit of courage. True courage cannot be seen. Strength lies not in appearance or in its use, but in the awareness of one's own value. Self-esteem and silent courage are more useful than 1,000 battle cries. I like how they have the girl and the little kitty and the grown-up kind of warrior-looking individual and the big kitty or lion there. The Hermit, the silent ghost. The best guide does not judge. He does not use words, but rather indicates the road by setting an example. He is patient and waits for the other to eventually walk along the same path. No matter how many stars sparkle in the sky, each of them can still add its own light to that of the firmament. That's an interesting concept, that the hermit is waiting for others to walk along the same path, but having their own unique experience. The Wheel of Fortune. The spirit of fate. Luck is unexpected and fickle. Fate accompanies each man along with the turning of the wheel between highs and lows, failures and rebirths. Life surprises are all opportunities. Justice, fairness and firmness. Justice is not only for one but for all. It is not at the service of man, but rather man must serve justice. Without balance, fairness, and equality, the only law would be that of strength. Justice, even when imperfect, is the foundation of human society. I like that concept of justice is not the service of man, that man must serve justice. The Hanged Man, perception upside down. The moment before transformation requires that the certainties of the past be replaced by new images. The day gives way to night and night to day. Changing your own point of view is a painful but necessary process. So here it kind of looks more at the upside down perspective and transformation, or preparing for transformation, as opposed to a focus on waiting or surrendering, sacrifice. So we are at Major Arcana number 13, Death, the door that is always open. Change has no face and cannot be predicted or controlled. Embracing what happens means crossing a threshold and not being able to go back. Fear is in our minds, not outside of us. Interesting. These cards are very shiny and reflective, I'm noticing. Temperance, the echo of peace. Good things cannot be eliminated, even when darkness seems to engulf and dissolve them. The sweet echo of harmony lingers, waiting to be reawakened. The road of peace makes us no weaker. It is only longer and more difficult. The road of peace. So I typically look at temperance as being a sense of harmony and balance, and also of creating a new future by mixing elements of the past with the present and creating a person's version of heaven on earth. But here, this is more a sense of peace and lingering harmony. The devil, the deceit of passions. Passions reawaken man. Ambition, frenzy, rebellion, desire, they create. But what they create is not destined to endure unless one succeeds in going beyond them. The fire that burns and the fire that warms are the same fire. That's a very interesting concept, or an interesting way of phrasing the concept of, instant gratification and something that endures for the long-term future that is for our best and highest good. The tower, the empty shell. Even the largest palace in the world is nothing but an empty shell if it does not contain the flame of life. Only the dead can remain and inhabit a dead place. Ooh. That's a very succinct way of explaining this. Only the dead can remain and inhabit a dead place. So, if you want something to live and thrive, then seems that you're going to need to constantly either have new ideas or changing ideas, or even challenging something that might become stale or stagnant. So here we have the stars. Interesting, this is the stars plural. The spirit of the heavens. The distance between the infinite and man cannot be filled in the material world, but only in the world of the spirit. Hope lies in the nature of those who look towards the sky. And that's a very kind of creepy looking face on the star card. The moon, the unconscious. The unconscious reveals the shadows of our being. If it is denied, it makes man false and unreal. If embraced, it leads to disorientation between urges and uncertainties. Equilibrium is the true search for oneself. So it kind of indicates you can really never catch a shadow. It's always kind of one step ahead, evasive, elusive. Here we have the sun, living in the light. Not everyone is obliged to live in the light. In fact, occasionally the light is a difficult burden to bear, capable of wounding more deeply than a sword. True light is the one within us, a mirror of light that brings the universe to life. And here it looks like a mother and child, ghost mother and child. Judgment. In the end, the beginning. Everything ends. The end gives meaning to the journey up to that specific point, yet the end needs not cut all ties, because wherever something dies, something else is born. The circle of life is wiser than many could ever believe. So that description almost makes it seem, well, and the card itself kind of makes it seem that judgment is pretty much death in terms of that transformation, as opposed to kind of answering the call for honest reflection and like actively acknowledging things that maybe you're still holding on to. Although it does look like this skeleton hand is holding on to the ghost cloak there. The world, the spirit of perfection. Perfection cannot be held back, if not for a brief moment. Capturing it means losing it, because what is perfect now will be weak and incomplete tomorrow. Everything is connected. Even the absence of perfection can be part of a bigger plan. So here is the world. Okay, so here is the Ace of Cups. And it has a 1 on it instead of the ace or an A or something else to indicate that it's an ace, except for the 1. So here it goes into the suit of chalices, or linked to the element of water, and to human emotions. Like running water, emotions move continuously. When they stop and cease changing, they become stagnant and turn putrid. Emotions guide the changing of man, and with time are transformed into memories, and these memories then give rise to new emotions. Ace, well, it says ace in the guidebook. Emotions are born of the soul, and to the soul they return, an eternal mystery of human nature. Two of Cups. Love is for always, even if it only lasts an instant. That instant would be eternal. Three of Cups. Emotions create ties that remain in our memory and return when we see places, hear sound, or taste flavors. In this way, nothing is ever totally forgotten. Now here's Three of Cups. Four of Cups. In the refusal to fight and the lack of energy, it is necessary to know how to see the hope offered to us, even if it seems to arrive from nowhere. So here, this Four of Cups is kind of more looking at this as apathy or melancholy or down in the dumps, as opposed to more of an introspection or a meditation type card. Five of Cups. There are moments when it is necessary to let things go, set them free, abandon them to be able to free ourselves and start anew. So this looks like this individual is satisfied or content in letting this go, as opposed to there being grief in the loss. Six of Cups. The present is another facet of the past, just as the future will be another facet of the present. Here it seems to be a ghost child and a not ghost child. 7 of Cups. In the darkest night, there are always doors that lead to the light and to a world that is vaster and brighter than the one we believe we are confined in. So there will always be greener pastures. 8 of Cups. To rediscover yourself, you must know how to turn away from things, even if they are precious. Then you can start anew. 9 of Cups. The kindness of the heart is born of the soul and looks only to the soul without paying attention to what is useless or transitory. It looks like maybe a soldier asking a ghost individual to dance. 10 of Cups. Life is a dance that comes to life at the first note and disappears on the horizon at the last note. That's a beautiful and sad way of looking at death and life. It really doesn't focus on the different type of emotions that you experience, though. It kind of assumes that in that dance you're going through different emotions. Here we have the Knave, the spirit of the dreamer. Emotions take shape within the heart. And here, I can't quite tell what this symbol is supposed to be at the very top. My eyesight must be really bad, but I cannot quite tell what the heck that is. Here we have the Knight of Cups, the spirit of the seducer. Mystery captures the imagination, giving rise to sentiments. Here I can tell at the top that's like a horse. Looks like it's just a cup floating in the water. The Queen, the spirit of the mystic. One is all and all is one in the world of emotions. The spirit of the healer. There is no wound that love cannot heal. Now we have the Suit of Pentacles. Pentacles are linked to the element of earth and to the nature of material things. Pentacles represent stability, conservation, continuity, and in general resistance to change. Even in a world that changes, the Pentacles symbolizes strengths that pursue coherence and eternity. They provide roots and security even if they risk leading to fossilization and closing yourself up. Interesting. Ace. Life continues and does not pay attention to what man thinks and constructs as the seasons pass. 2 Pentacles. Nature grows and spreads without design, plans, or ambitions. She limits herself to being with total spontaneity. Nature grows and spreads without design, plans, or ambitions. It's not what I typically consider with a 2 of Pentacles. But, gonna work with that. 3 of Pentacles. Everything is born small, fragile, and incomplete. Growing requires dedication and sacrifice on our part and by those who love us. Kind of looks like living and non-living working together to carve some designs into those pillars. There's probably another more appropriate word for this type of architecture, this kind of art. Four of Pentacles, and the refusal to fight and the lack of energy is necessary to know how to see the hope offered to us. Oh wait, no, that's Four of Cups. Four of Pentacles, being overly protective of what is yours leads to solitude and true poverty. Yeah, that sounds like Four of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles. The soul can exist even if naked and unadorned, but without the material aspects, it can be incomplete. Okay. Six of Pentacles. Patience and waiting lead to small moments of eternity, but there is no eternity in solitude. So it looks like someone hugging a tombstone and a ghost couple behind that individual. Six of Pentacles is usually about balance and harmony, and to some degree balancing your wants and needs. And here it's kind of a sense of if you're on your own and you can't it's almost like the four of Pentacles in that sense of holding on to something too much is, you know, a true sense of poverty. So Seven of Pentacles. Let's see here. Even the garden of the spirit produces fruit, for every desire and fear that we have sown. I'm going to say that again. Even the garden of the spirit produces fruit for every desire and fear that we have sown. Okay. 8 shattered dreams need not die. They live within us as long as we give them a piece of our heart. So it looks like there is a living bride carving a tombstone for possibly the groom that passed away. 9 of Pentacles. There is nothing more beautiful than what is alive, and slowly life touches everything in profundity. So it looks like there's like birds, colorful birds that are flying around here. 10 of Pentacles. A wedding in the submerged chapel only brings pain. Life is for the living, but they must also live it in the darkest of moments. A wedding in the submerged chapel. I'm not sure that's a submerged chapel and these individuals are going to commit suicide there. Because it looks like these ghost individuals are trying to talk some sense into them. Interesting. Okay. So we have Knave, the spirit of the apprentice. Learning is the first step to knowing how to do things. That seems very Page of Pentacles like. Knight, the spirit of the defender. You will want nothing of value to be lost. Okay. Then we have the Queen, the spirit of the mother. Protecting and nourishing are the two faces of motherhood. The King, the spirit of the father. Being a provider and caretaker are the two faces of fatherhood. And now we have the Ace of Wands. Suit of Wands. The wands are linked to the element of fire and to the passions and energy that bring man to life. Unlike emotions, passions urge us to act, trajecting men forward and pushing him to want more and more, to go ever higher, and to constantly overcome his own limitations. Passions are the key to man's creativity and to his victories, but like fire, they may be highly destructive of oneself and of others. Ace. Passion creates and consumes at the same time. Consumes and creates. Two of Wands. There are more things in the world than any individual philosophy can ever contain. I like that concept of there's always another path to explore, because there's not just one truth. Three of Wands. There is no great conquest that does not entail the seed of peril. Four of Wands. Immensity has no value if we know not how to find joy in the little things. Five of Wands. Instinct leads us to repeat our own errors and make choices without full knowledge. Six of Wands. Willpower can achieve the impossible and can remain strong when everything else has collapsed. Seven of Wands. When others' passions shake the world, sometimes it is necessary to fight the current, no matter how strong it may be. Eight of Wands. Freedom is priceless and boundless. Nine of Wands. Silence does not make us weak. That's interesting. I don't think of Nine of Wands having to do with silence. I actually think Nine of Wands is something where, someone should be speaking up or should have spoken up to create, healthy boundaries, so that maybe they won't be feeling like they have to handle things all by themselves. So, the strong, silent type is something that I haven't come across yet. 10 of Wands. The weight of one's own decision remains long after the decisions themselves have passed. Ongoing burdens. Knave. The spirit of the inventor. Realizing one's wishes is part of man's nature. Knight. The spirit of the traveler. The vastness of the world is in front of us and behind us. Queen. The spirit of the muse. The fire of one can touch the fire of many. The King. The spirit of the leader. A common direction is what makes many better than one. Suit of Swords. The swords are linked to the element of air and to the world of the intellect and rationality. Air and swords also represent two fundamental characteristics of human existence: communication and conflict. Communication enables the exchange of ideas and opens the door to science and knowledge. Conflict brings pain, defeat and victory, guilt and fear, but can never be totally avoided. Ace. Reason can be illuminated by instinct, but never dominated by it. Two of Swords. Conflict is always the last solution, while negotiations are a dance that takes different viewpoints into consideration. I actually consider Two of Pentacles to be more of a dance and negotiation. Three of Swords. The cold of the soul can perceive the warmth of the heart even during a storm. Four of Swords. Only in silence we can listen to the true voice of our thoughts. Five of Swords. Must defeat be the end? There are occasions when losing is actually a victory. Six of Swords, it is necessary to survive difficult moments because even if you cannot see the light at the end, each step brings you closer. Seven, if weapons are taken away, only words will remain to solve problems. I like that. That concept of maybe this is not a card of liar, stealer, cheater, but of someone who is trying to prevent the worst of what you can do to each other, the worst that humans can do to each other with words and weapons, with communication and conflict. Eight of Swords, freedom is born from within. Nine of Swords, you cannot escape your own conscience because everything you have done, whether good or bad, returns to us. Interesting. You know, sometimes I think of the Nine of Swords as solving a problem that you have no control over. But perhaps at some point, some people may have had control over them. 10 of Swords, true wisdom is letting things go. Sometimes it is necessary to even let yourself go. Knave, the spirit of the researcher. Life consists of asking questions and pursuing knowledge. Knight, the spirit of the warrior. Never retreat and never think of defeat. These create the nature of the warrior. The Queen, the spirit of the critic. What is that? Perspicacity? Perspicacity. I don't think I've seen that word. Is it hyphenated this way or just because of the guidebook? Perspicacity and intelligence generate criticisms that may help you to improve. The King, the spirit of the teacher. Knowledge should be shared and taught. As there is a time to learn, so is there a time to teach. And here is just an insert for the deck. Talks about an invitation to a tarot association. Okay, so I'm going to go through, take out these extra cards, see how these cards shuffle. They seem to shuffle pretty nicely. Yeah, there's definitely an odor that comes off of these when shuffling. Possibly an odor of the paper, but it seems to run smooth. So I will say that these cards are pretty dark in terms of the coloring. I would say that for a ghost-themed tarot deck, the images aren't too too horror or gruesome, you know, looking. It seems like there's a lot of tenderness in the cards, and can really feel some of the yearnings, especially in here in this 10 of Pentacles and the 6 of Pentacles, if I can come across it, with the individual hugging the tombstone. It is a little, because there's these borders on the top and borders on the bottom, it is a little difficult to see what card it pertains to. The number is at the top. For the court cards, there's just these symbols, and the Queen's crown and the King's crown are, I can find another king. Maybe I should have pointed this out before I started shuffling. Well, here's the Queen's, and here's another Queen. Here's that 6 of Pentacles card that I was talking about. And of course, there doesn't want to be a king showing up here. Where are all the kings? There's the horses. All the king's horses. Where's all the kings? So here's a king. And here's a king. All right. So you can see the crown of the king and of the queen. It is different in that there's like more points on the king's crown, and the queen's crown has got, it's more like a, looks like, I don't know, bundt cake. And then the suits are at the bottom. You can see here is the wands, and here are the pentacles at the bottom. Let me see if I can find, again, I should have done this earlier, but live and learn. All right, here's the ace. You can see the ace and the ace of swords and the king of wands. The big difference is the one looks kind of like a crooked stick, and the sword has the hilt, the handle on it. But it is kind of difficult to see. There is coloring. It looks like the borders of pentacles are green. The borders of the swords, I think that might be a dark blue. Borders of the wands are red, and the well, maybe it's more like a, maybe that's dark blue. And then the, I'm trying to find cups here. Cups border is definitely blue. Maybe the swords are gray border, brown border. And of the major Arcana cards, they only have the Roman numeral on the top and the bottom, and their border is very similar in color to the swords. So it is a little difficult to see these cards. They're very reflective, and interested to see how these go in terms of a love reading. If you have experience with these cards, love reading or not love reading, definitely let me know. I'm interested to find out. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little interview of this deck. I'll pull 5 cards. First card to tell me about the essence of this deck. Second card to tell me about the deck's current strengths. Third card, deck's current limitations. Fourth card, what this deck can teach. And the fifth card, a card in this deck that I should become more familiar with on a deeper level. So I'll go ahead and shuffle this a little bit more since I have these in order. All right. Okay, so here we have the Emperor. It's the essence of the deck. Here is the Devil, which is its current strength. Current limitation. The Knave of Wands. Maybe the limitation is this symbol here that I cannot see and not make out. If you know what this symbol is, please let me know. All right, what this deck can teach. Three of Cups. And a card that I should learn more about on a deeper level. Three of Pentacles. Okay. So here, the essence of this card here, Emperor, seems to be authority and power. And let's see what it said in the guidebook, if there was anything particularly interesting. Haste, indecision. Oh, authority is not born of law, but the capacity to manage and use it. So here, I mean, basically it just indicates a sense of this deck will teach how to manage and use authority. Okay. Here with the Devil being its current strength indicates temptations and doing temptations to do things that are not sustainable in the long run. In terms of the Knave of Wands as its current weakness, I think this has to do with, was it traveling? No, Spirit of the Traveler, that is the Knight. This is Spirit of the Inventor. So realizing one's wishes is a part of man's nature. So its current weakness is not knowing what to wish for, possibly. Here in this card of teaching, seemed to be about savoring, not savoring, how places, smells, flavors, sounds can remind you of experiences that you cherish with those around you. So if this card teaches me how to cherish those moments or be reminded of those connections, that's great. And here, card that I should learn on a deeper level, the Three of Pentacles. And I believe this card was kind of saying that you do things for the people you love. There was particular phrasing in there that had to do with making things better. So let's see here. Everything is born small, fragile, and incomplete. Growing requires dedication and sacrifice on our part and by those who love us. Nope, totally got that wrong. Okay. Everything is born small and fragile. I mean, it would make sense if this was like a little baby this person was holding, but it's not. It's like a canteen of liquid. But it's kind of indicating that I'm not sure how. This is a great card to say I need to learn on a deeper level, because here the Three of Pentacles is typically about having individual talent and skills. When you work with others, you can highlight those talents and skills. You can create something new together, and expand and grow. That seems to be similar, but everything is born kind of incomplete, requires dedication and sacrifice by those and those who love us. Definitely something I have to get into. So I'm hoping this provides a helpful perspective of Ghost Tarot. And if you have experience with this deck or have thoughts about it, I'd love to hear it. And we'll see you next time. Take care.